All right. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. And I have someone else from the realm of hip hop, but more than hip hop, also artistry and creativity. You know how much I love creativity. Worked with this brother before on a couple different things. And the pen game, when it comes to comedy, that's something he does. When it comes to comic books, that's kind of a connection. When it comes to writing rhymes, and I'm talking about like raps that we appreciate. If you grew up in our era, you would love this brother. Cliffnote, how you feeling, my brother?
Good, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, man, it's been a to-do for a minute.
Yeah, man. Had a couple hang-ups on the last schedule.
Yeah, man, it be like that. It be like
yeah.
that. Now you in the throes of winter. It was been the summertime, but now,
Man, this winter is kicking my ass. Can I cuss on here?
yeah, man, it's free.
This winter is kicking my ass.
Woo, woo.
I ain't feeling it. It's cold as a motherfucker.
Yes, it sure is, my friend. It sure is.
Man.
So with that being said, man, we usually start these with the origin stories of fam and how deep in the city you are. So let's go there. How many generations deep is your family to Detroit?
I think I'm second generation.
Okay.
My grandma moved here. My grandma and grandfather moved here from Mississippi.
Whereabouts?
Hollandale. Greenville and Hollandale.
Okay, Greenville, Hollandale. Where is that at in Mississippi?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. My geography ain't the best, man, but
Okay.
I think they fairly close to each other. Greenville, Hollandale, Jackson.
Okay. All right, so in the Jackson area for the most part.
I think so.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'm guessing that's always just in a lot of these interviews. A lot of folks here are like Alabama,
Yeah.
Georgia, a little bit further east. A lot of the
Yeah.
Mississippi, they go either further west or Chicago, it seemed like, or Memphis and stuff like
Yeah, well,
that.
no, but a lot of them, so some of them went to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Some came to Detroit. I got family in Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
And I got family in Compton too.
Okay, I said a little bit west.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
yeah,
there
yeah,
we go.
yeah.
It's a cliff out there in Compton.
Yeah. I ain't gonna say it's a cliff out there, but you know what I'm saying. You got the bloodline out there.
Well, hey, see, it goes.
Yeah.
It's a bliff.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a bliff note.
All right, so with that, grandparents come here. What was the connection? Why did they make their way this way?
The plants.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My grandfather got a job at Great Lakes Steel. And I don't remember what my grandma did at the time, but he got a job at a factory, steel factory. Then my dad started working there when he grew up. But my dad is the first generation born
Here.
in Detroit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what neighborhood did your pops grow up in?
Linwood, like a street called Columbus.
Okay. So, not necessarily this way, further up towards Northwestern.
Yeah.
When I think of Columbus, Linwood.
That's where he went.
Okay.
Northwestern. Yep.
All right,
Yep.
you
Him
know,
and
guy.
my mom.
Oh, for real?
Yep.
Ain't that something?
Yep.
Mighty, mighty coats. We love it.
Yeah.
All right. And your mom, what neighborhood she grew up in?
Scotton. That's like the boulevard, not far from the Motown Museum.
Okay. So she grew up sort of in that same footprint.
Hold on, is that by the Motown Museum?
Is Scotton, when I think of Scotton, I'm thinking like how it runs. It's further close to like really, shout out Yusef Shakur. That's Zone 8 for sure when I think of Scotton personally.
Yeah. Like, is that a Dexter area?
Yeah, it's a little bit. It could be like in that footprint, like
Because
in
I
and
used to
around.
take the Dexter bus
Mm.
and it rolled through there, but I don't know, man.
And we definitely gonna talk about your journey on the 16, my brother.
Oh, man.
So coming up, your dad worked in the steel plant too.
Yeah.
What did your mom do?
She was a secretary for the Detroit Public School Board. So
For real?
yeah.
Okay.
So she worked in a couple Detroit public schools. She worked at Coleman Young.
Mm.
Then there was a place called the Management Academy. I just know that was the name of the place. I don't know. I know she was a secretary of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
But then in her later years, she was a blackjack dealer at the casino.
Wow.
So she did that all the way till she retired. She was there from when they opened to like 2000 and I don't know what 2010, 2009. So I can't remember when she retired.
Which casino?
MGM.
Okay, all right, that's something.
No, yeah. MGM. Yep.
So that means your mom's background check was impeccable.
Oh yeah. She kept it clean. She kept it clean on paper.
There we go. Also, knowing them Northwestern people, they be like, hey. It's like, no bet, cuz.
Yeah.
All right, so that's interesting. That was like the life that your mom was in. I'm sure she had all types of stories from
Man, every day she was coming home talk about what celebrity she done met that was an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or somebody who was cool. Or who she done kicked it with that said they knew me.
Okay.
Like, I remember I introduced her to Proof. She's like, I know this nigga. Like, damn.
He done lost 10 over here.
Yeah, yo. It's like, Allen Iverson's so goddamn ignorant. No wonder they ain't doing shit on the Pistons.
Hilarious.
You know, he be in the casino gambling all day when he supposed to be in practice.
That was one of those Detroit stories about Allen Iverson's stint here in the Pistons, which, as an Iverson fan, his best years were not.
Was not here.
No, by no means. Nah. But he did spend a lot of time at the casino.
He definitely invested in the casinos.
Yes. So, all right. So in that arc, you growing up, where did you grow up?
I grew up on 6 Mile, West Side, Bronx.
Okay.
6 Mile, Bronx. That's like between Schaefer and Greenfield. And 6 Mile and Puritan.
Okay. All right, so in that neighborhood, I would consider I'd like to kind of know neighborhoods by the high school you would go to. And that neighborhood high school, I guess that's one of those neighborhoods you probably could go to Mumford or Cooley, I'm thinking.
Yeah, most of them went to Cooley, though. I went to Cass.
Yeah.
I was always threatened with Cooley.
With Cooley.
You better get your shit together, you're going to be in Cooley. Dodging bullets. Like, okay, yeah, let me get my shit together.
Well, shout out to the Cooley Cardinals. It was definitely an
salute to everybody
school.
who made it through Cooley.
Yes, it was definitely an interesting school, Cooley, and the stories of Cooley.
The news stories.
Yeah, man. I want to say Cooley may have been, when you talk about the news stories, Cooley may have been the first school with a metal detector in Detroit that I remember.
Might have been.
Out of school. I mean, it was soon out. It's not like Cooley got one in 86 and then the rest got them in 91. It was like Cooley got one in 86 November. Probably my alma mater, your mom and dad's alma mater got one in like December 86. You know what I'm saying? So it was like soon after.
Yeah.
And that was like a big thing then in the 80s. But did you go to like Cerveny and all the other schools around there?
No, I went to Halley.
For real? Halley Magnet. I went to Halley Magnet.
Yeah.
What was your Halley experience like?
Halley was probably some of the best years of my life, man, as far as like comedy. Man, the funniest shit that I could think of that happened in life was in middle school, man. It's just the growing up, you know what I'm saying, learning shit. You still a kid, but you're not all the way a kid no more. So it's like you figuring shit out, doing dumb shit. Yeah, middle school was a good time, man. I ain't gonna lie.
So I can explain it. You went to Cass, which is, as they consider, like a school you test into, school of choice of a high school. But Halley was, in a lot of ways, Halley and Bates Academy would be like the middle schools of choice.
Yeah.
Halley, you could. The thing is, you didn't have to wear a uniform. I like Bates.
Right.
And I went to Halley as well. And it was an interesting mix of people from Sherwood Forest, definitely was going there. And like and then like a lot of educators sent their kids there. Yeah. So like I'm guessing because your mom kind of knew already what was going on with Halley. And a couple different like, prominent business people kind of sent their kids to Halley. It was interesting. I was always getting into God knows what trouble at Halley, personally.
I did for sure. But the thing is, you remember Miss Garrett?
Miss Garrett, I do not remember Miss Garrett.
Shout out Miss Garrett, but her and my mom went to high school together. And that was the reason why I went to Halle, because Miss Garrett was like, if you send him here, I can give him a ride
Watch him.
home.
Oh,
Because
okay.
my mom's ain't wanted me to catch the bus. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So she was like, if you can give him a ride home every day, then you can go to Halle. So that's where I wound up going.
Yeah, from Halle, I remember Miss Sneed, Miss Wright,
Sneed.
Miss Shelby.
You remember Miss Fordham?
I do remember Miss Fordham.
All right, I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Hilarious. Miss Fordham was very attractive for all the boys.
God. Hey, salute to Miss Fordham. I know she probably married. I'm married too, so you know what I'm saying. Salute to Miss Fordham.
Miss Fordham, Miss Canty.
Oh, yeah, Miss Canty was another. Miss Fordham was
Miss
the
Miles, Miss Heckman. I remember a lot of those people at Halle, actually. Lord knows. I'm sure
Fordham.
some of them remember me because I was like definitely derailing a lot of classwork.
Hey, I wasn't derailing English. I did my English.
All right. So at that point, and then drawing and artistry, what were you doing in artistry at that time as far as like developing your skill sets?
In Halle?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. At Halle, it was just more so just me doing it independently. I can't say they had the best art program, so like the art teachers didn't really, they ain't really help much. I will say in elementary school, I had a teacher named Miss Iglesias, and I never forget. Like she used to like pull me to the side from the class while everybody else was doing their work and let me paint. Like that was amazing to me. Like you letting me paint while everybody else is doing math and science and stuff that I don't want to do. Like she have an easel set up and had me off to the side painting like for like a half hour, like a portion of the day. Like I was amazed by that. I'm still tripping. Like, how did you get away with that?
All right, what school?
Saint Scholastica.
Okay, so at that school, and I'm sure the other kids was looking like, why he get to do that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They might have understood because I did draw like better than most of the kids, probably all of them kids, and because they wasn't into art. But me being an only child, street lights come on. I'm in the crib. It's only one TV. My pops is watching some shit while I want to watch Fat Albert or something. I'm stuck with my sketchbook. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got. So I had to be as creative as I could on that paper, man.
All right, so a lot of this was just self-taught early on, and then even when you're getting the paint in elementary, did she show you like any techniques or anything like that, or it was just one of those things where you just go for it?
I felt like she tried to show me some techniques, but it was more about just letting me do my thing and figuring stuff out. Like I had never painted before per se. So she was like, here, take these paintbrushes and try this out. You know what I'm saying? So she introduced me to painting without me having to be like, Dad, can you buy me some acrylic? Can you buy me some water? You know what I'm saying? She introduced me to it so I knew what to do before asking my parents what to get me. Yeah.
All right, so I'm guessing these years are like your dad watching, and I can only imagine the 80s TV. Your dad watching In the Heat of the Night.
Man, my dad wasn't watching nothing but basketball. Basketball and football. You know what I'm saying? All sports, man. And I ain't mad at that now, but as a kid, when you want to watch Fat Albert, Different Strokes, Webster, you know what I'm saying? And he come in the middle of the shit to turn on the Pistons. Like, man, fuck the Pistons, man. I don't want to watch that shit right now. This is a very special episode. Arnold just got kidnapped.
Arnold just got kidnapped.
I don't know what the fuck about to happen. I gotta see the Pistons.
You gotta watch Kelly Tripucka.
Yeah. He ain't got no good defense.
All right, so there we go. So as this is like developing, when do you recognize that you're a lot better than some of the other like people you know? Like when do you recognize that this skill is a talent?
It might have been from the beginning because I remember drawing Sesame Street characters and my mom being like, "You ain't do that. Do it again." I draw it again and she be like, "Damn," you know what I'm saying? So like my parents' reaction to my stuff was when I knew I was probably pretty good at it. But then going to school and seeing that it just wasn't a thing that everybody could do, I always was like, okay, I'm different.
Mm. Okay. All right. So now I guess we get into that journey. CT. Why'd you choose CAS?
My mama chose Cash.
Mhm.
I honestly didn't care. I was like, whatever.
Anything but Cooley.
Yeah, anything but cool. Honestly, at the time, I wouldn't have minded going to Cooley. Like, I didn't know how fucked up it was. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I just knew a lot of my friends was going there, and it's right down the street. So I wouldn't have minded, but my mom's wasn't having it.
Okay. All right. So CAS Tech, what was CAS like? I noticed the old CAS. What do you remember about starting there?
I remember being a big ass school and me being like just little. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't had my growth spurt yet. Everybody seemed huge. I remember I had on an airbrush shirt with a picture of me on it. And I hadn't cut my high top all the way yet.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to quite let it go. So I had like what Tupac had going on in Juice, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
And what year this?
This is like 94, 93,
Okay.
93, 94 year.
So this was around the era where nobody necessarily said cut it, but it was an understood. It was an implicit.
Yeah,
You need to let the box.
It's like you might want to get rid of that shit. I cut it down dramatically, but I ain't want to cut it all the way off. And I remember just motherfuckers laughing at me. I'm like, and I don't know what they was laughing at particularly. Was it the shirt that I had on, airbrushed with me on it? Was it the high top, almost high top Steve Harvey the shit I had going on? Like, I don't know what it was, man. But I remember being like, I can't even say I was embarrassed. I was confused. Like, the fuck wrong with y'all? I'm fly right now. You can't do this. You know what I'm saying? I remember that. And then I remember like, my parents didn't really buy me a lot of clothes. You know what I'm saying? And CAS, like you said, like important people sent their kids there. Some of these people is like city officials and stuff like that. Some of these kids driving to school in Benzes and shit. I'm from 6 Mile. You know what I'm saying? And my parents didn't buy me a lot of clothes. So that's when I learned comedy. Because every lunch session, I was getting roasted.
Wow.
Some young ass clothes, and you had that on yesterday, and you know what I'm saying? So I went to the crib one day and just wrote fucked up shit about everybody who was talking shit about me. Like, oh, this nigga, mama probably this, that, and the third. Or this nigga look like blah, blah, blah. And I came back the next day and just waited for the first person to say something and went crazy. You know, I had the whole lunchroom laugh. Not the whole lunchroom, it was a big ass lunchroom. But I had the whole area laughing. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm about to start writing jokes. You know what I'm saying?
So this is what's so weird about that, because it's like levels. Because even at Hallie, roasting is happening all day.
Oh, all day.
But 9th grade, it goes up a level.
Definitely.
It goes up a level. And this is what's so strange about it, because for certain students, that's the bullying that makes them say, you know what? I hate everything about this. And then for others, it's like, oh, this is almost how you get camaraderie. Like, you started roasting bracket. Now the person that basically drug you all day yesterday is
one of your best friends now.
Can you explain a little bit of that? Because I still can't unpack that and try to explain it to people, especially in today's era where it's like, I'm trying to show you that, but break it down.
It's like a icebreaker type situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where me and this dude stand with each other. You know what I'm saying? And we being cool, but once I crack a joke and you crack a joke back, now we're at a different level than somebody who don't have that rapport. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it eventually develops into, okay, I could talk shit about this nigga, but you can't. You don't know him like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's weird. And I like how you broke that down, because it's so strange, because for certain people, I know it break them, but for others, it bring them together.
Yeah.
And in any, especially in our community, because I think it's so little, we talking about people for everything. If you got money, if you broke, if you fat, if you skinny, if you tall, if you short, if you new clothes, old clothes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because like you'll be like, oh man, I'm coming in fresh to death,
Yeah.
fly. And it's like, look at him with that new shirt. You think you gonna get her? And then it's like,
Right.
it's like, why are you talking about somebody for having on a new
Yeah.
shirt? But it's
It's just funny shit. Man, I used to do that shit every day. Like me and my boys used to do that shit. And then it got to the point where I had to learn to turn that shit down. You know what I'm saying? Because I do that shit with people who wasn't playing.
and that's yeah, you gotta know
Yeah.
the difference. Now, this is the thing. And then when that person that usually don't play step in the arena,
Ready to fight.
now it's like, oh, I was waiting on this.
Yeah.
And like you said, like writing down roasts to go back to school, that would be the theory. And then you just become like a natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you talk about like one of the number one places where that would happen all the time would be the bus stop.
Oh man, the bus stop. And on the bus. No, the bus stop.
Both.
The bus stop for sure. But on the bus was when I had my most craziest roasting sessions. I remember. Because what it is now you on the bus, everybody's on there sitting there quietly or whatever. They paying attention to everything that's going on the bus. The loudest person on the bus is going to be heard by the whole bus.
Yeah.
So if you say something funny, the whole bus is like, you didn't shook the room.
Yeah, especially if you get like the older person that's taking, like if you get the old lady to laugh, it's like,
yeah, like you even got the old lady laughing at you, dog. Man, we used to be roasting each other like crazy on the bus. And see, the thing is, I didn't even have to take the bus. I always had, my parents was like, I'll come pick you up. I'm like, no, I'll take the bus.
I'm gonna take the bus.
I'm gonna take the bus.
All right, so in that, we can kind of stay there a little bit. What bus was you taking?
So I used to take the Dexter bus. I used to have to take two buses. But I remember the Dexter bus being one of them.
All right, now being at Cass from Dexter, this is what a lot of people always say, because this the other thing, when you take the bus and you going across town, like when I was at King coming over before Northwestern, it's like you start on the bus, you with all your people from your school.
Right.
And then slowly but surely they dwindle away.
Yeah.
And you passing by Murray Wright and the Murray Wright kids.
Yeah.
Then you pass by Northwestern. Then you pass by Central. Then you pass by, the further you go on that bus route, especially if you on 6 Mile, you had iterations of like.
Yeah, you the only one from Cass. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Yeah, I definitely had them moments.
Yeah, and then the people from the other school want to roast you too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
see, I always like, I never was one of them that's like, hey, I go to Cass. Hey, I go to Cass. Like, it was just, you didn't know where I went. I'm just on here.
Yep. Okay. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about CT in the art program there. I'm guessing you chose art there, or what was your discipline?
Commercial art. The funny thing is I didn't get accepted to Cass. Like, I took the test and didn't pass it. But my mom knew the department head, the art department head. She was real cool with my mom's mom, my grandma. And she saw my portfolio and was like, we'll let you in as long as you keep your grades up. We won't kick you out. So I was in there, but I had to make sure not to. Well, my grades did slip, and I was on probation, but they didn't kick me out. I was winning a lot of poster contests, so it was like they kept me.
So the commercial art there at Cass, and many people through that, our homie Sterling, shout out Sterling.
Yes, sir.
One of those people in that. What were you learning there at Cass about art, and how did you take to that program?
One of the first things I learned was lettering. Shout out to Miss Smith. She was one of the first classes that I had. And she's Monica Blair's mom, by the way. But she taught me lettering, and from that point I started like using what I learned from that and applying it to graffiti. And I started airbrushing around that time. Well, I started airbrushing a little bit before that, but getting more into it around that time. Mr. Smith, he taught a lot, perspective. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on what specifically I learned from there, but the poster contest is where I really started getting my skills up.
What's the poster contest?
So they would have contests with like whoever did the best poster. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, for example, was one of them. And I won first place in that, and they flew me and my parents out to D.C. Had a little a whole little award ceremony and tour the White House.
Wow, for real?
Yeah, it was dope.
Oh yeah, I'm sure your parents at that point was like, "Yo,
yeah, yup."
All right, so toured the White House. Who's the president at the time?
Clinton.
Okay, so you got into the Clinton White House.
Yup, in the Oval Office and all that.
Okay,
got to use
was
the
this
Oval
before
Office.
the scandal or after the scandal? Or you don't even know.
I believe this had to be before the scandal.
Okay,
because I ain't had no jokes about being there at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so just seeing what opportunity art could do, not just for you, but family itself, how do you think that impacted your thought process moving forward at the time?
Oh, it definitely made me take it serious. And, because around that time, I had won another poster contest, Denounce the 40 ounce. You remember that campaign?
Shout out Alberta Tinsley Talabi, Mac Alive, and all the work she was doing. So let me give some context to that for people that don't know. Not me and Cliff's generation per se, but the guys that were maybe like 10 years older than us, maybe 5 to 10 or whatever. I don't know. Like dudes that were like late generation X that were black was drinking malt liquor left and right. And malt liquor, God knows, I don't know what's in malt liquor, but it was a lot of just
embalming fluid.
Yeah, it was Now, and around the early 90s to mid 90s, campaigns about like, let's take malt liquor away from the community are going simultaneously as like rappers are like, malt liquor advertising is big with rappers. Like I remember the whole St. Ives campaign with the, it's like, man, I want that tape, with Snoop and all that.
Hey, I still want that tape. It was some classics on there. It took
went to the corner store.
You know what I'm looking for. St. Ives.
You see how the marketing impacted kids?
Yeah, I'm like 11.
I know.
Like, just hit the corner store. You know what I'm looking for. St. Ives.
Also, like when you walk in most liquor stores at the time, it'd be like the finest woman, like with Red Bull or Crazy Horse or then
they had the special brew. Yeah, Red Man and Method Man advertising the St. Ives special brew. Like, I want that juice.
They had Tupac special brew commercial. You be watching Rap City and then Tupac be in the casino rolling dice and then you get the special brew. It's like, oh man.
That was crazy.
Now, with this, obviously this is marketing to kids, but it's acting like it's not marketing to kids. Right. And simultaneously, like it's like a growth, especially around what Alberta was doing about denouncing the 40 ounce. So it's a whole campaign about like, let's get rid of the 40 ounces. And you were connected to that. Mm-hmm. And I also want to uplift, this is the other weird thing about malt liquor. Malt liquor is disgusting.
Nasty.
And it'll flip your stomach. And this was the weirdest thing about them dudes. Them dudes would be playing basketball, drinking malt liquor like it was Gatorade. So I don't understand.
That was crazy.
Yeah, if like 1988, if you went to the court on Dexter or Homer, it would be like it'd be like a line of 40s to the side where they drinking 40 ounces of malt liquor.
40s and hooping. For real. That was a regular thing.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you kind of see it in Ice Cube's Today Was a Good Day, because he's like, when he's like, hit a triple double and then like, all right, I just got to take people back to that era where it was like, I don't know what this is now.
I forgot about that. You absolutely right. He was drinking beers like water.
Yeah, like man, and that will flip your stomach. I think I had a 211 or Steel Reserve like one time in my life, and it was like half of a 22 ounce, because they was like, oh, you really want to go to sleep, drink some malt liquor. I had half of that. My stomach was flipping. Now I did go to sleep immediately, so this is not an advertisement for 211, but it will mess you up for like 3. It messed me up for like 3 to 4 days. Yeah. Disgusting. So you did a campaign poster for that and won that as well.
Yep. And I got my first what I considered a big check at the time. I think I got like $800.
Wow.
I was like, damn.
And then $800 a kid. What grade you in?
16.
Oh, 16, $800 in that era, mid
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
That was like $10,000.
Yeah, I'm about to ball out. I'm about to
Yeah.
go to the mall and act stupid. That's what I did.
Okay. Now, in the same art, airbrush.
Mhm.
You already said that you connected to airbrushing earlier. What was your connection? How did you buy your equipment? How did you get interested?
91, Belle Biv DeVoe had a video out called Do Me.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Bivins had on these cold ass airbrushed overalls. They was always wearing airbrush shit.
Yeah.
I told my dad, like, I want one of them, some of them airbrush overalls. He like, bet you get a good report card, get you some overalls, take you up to this spot called Kingpin.
Where was Kingpin?
Kingpin was an airbrush shop on 7 Mile, right next to the hip hop shop, actually.
Okay.
And, 7 Mile in Greenfield. And it was a dude who owned the spot named Reggie. Now I remember I had airbrushed a shirt with myself on it, holding a couple bags of money, said cream, casuals, everything around me. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it's dope. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna show this to him. He gonna give me a job at the airbrush shop. My dad take me up there. And I'm actually, I fast forwarded the story because you asked me what made me get the airbrush. What made me get the airbrush was seeing those overalls, and my dad said, I'll get you some. When he took me to get them, they told him how much it was going to cost. And he was like, I'm going to just buy you an airbrush. Fuck that. That shit costs too much.
That's hilarious. That's dad wisdom like
yeah. Now, you can make your own damn jeans. So I did that. And at that point, I'm like, oh, shit, I can get a job in the airbrush shop. I'm sweet. And that's when he take me up to Kingpin again. And I show dude my shirt with cream, casuals, everything around me. He like, man, look at that. And look at this. I ain't got time to be messing with you, man. You ain't got no potential. There's ain't nothing I can do with that. Yeah, you ain't. I'm like, damn.
And you a kid.
Man, I'm like, at the time, I might have been 14. I was mad as hell, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, as a kid, that's going to be like.
I'm like, damn, I ain't shit. I'm whack. Damn. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I really stopped airbrushing for a minute after that. I was like, fuck this. But I had a shirt that I did with Chucky coming out of a Jack in the Box, cutting the Jack in the Box head off. But I made Chucky black and gave him dreadlocks and all that. I'm like, nah, this shirt's sweet. And I'm in Cass at the time. Now, mind you, this is 10th grade. And it was a 9th grade girl her family stayed down the street from me. Me and her started kicking it. Her mom take a liking to me. And she like, you know, you talented. I know somebody who airbrushes that'll probably get you on point. So she introduces me to a dude named Felly, who had a shop called Another Level on 6 Mile and Evergreen, right? By same block as Chauncey's Records. And I showed him the shirt, my Chucky shirt, which I realized now was whack. But at the time, I'm thinking it's sweet. And instead of him doing what Reggie did at Kingpin, he like, I can get you there. That ain't, you got potential. I can get you there. I'm like, all right, bet. Because I see what he did, and I'm like, yeah, I want to be like that. I want to do all that you doing. Like, I can get you there. And I started working with him, and the rest is history. I wound up getting good.
All right, so during this time, so you're connecting there and in school, kind of working. Where you at with the other art form I'm connected with you on in hip hop?
Man, so it's like the only child thing again. Like when the street lights came on, I had to go to the crib and entertain myself best way I could. I had my sketchbook and my notebook. You know what I'm saying? If I got tired of drawing, I could write something. I was writing stories to do comic books and stuff like that. Then music was always playing. And one of my favorite songs, King of Rock. I'm the king of rock. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know all the words. So I'm like, I ain't got shit to do. I'm about to sit and listen to this shit word for word and write it down. When I did that, saw how simple it was, I'm like, man, I can do this shit. I started writing raps. I was 6 years old. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure DMC would feel differently.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I'm just messing
hey,
with you.
no disrespect to Run DMC, but my 6-year-old mind felt like, hey, I can do this.
All right. So when do you start sharing your rap talent? When do you start rapping for other people?
So in school, I was always rapping for the other kids. I ain't really do it for my parents like that because then it turned into the hey, do the thing you was just doing for the whole family at every family gathering. So my parents really didn't even know what I did as far as music because I didn't want to be the family's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? On Thanksgiving and all that.
So as you're doing this, are you just always like writing, remembering your rhyme, and then spitting it, or are you? Because I know you can freestyle as well. When do you develop the skill set of freestyling? And let me break this down once again for everybody to know. Me and Cliff are kind of in that same era where to us a freestyle means it's completely improvisation. That does not mean that I wrote the rhyme down, I remember it, and I rap it. That's what we call a written.
Right.
Somewhere in 2009 or something, written rhymes became freestyles just because they were one verse. That's one written. My bad.
Yeah. It's interesting how they define freestyle now, but yeah, it was all off the top of the dome back then.
Yeah.
I started freestyling going to the hip hop shop and seeing Proof doing that shit. I was like, damn, he just did that just looking at shit that's going on here.
All right, and now we gotta shout out P, love P, the best freestyler I've ever seen, and many people will tell you that. Period. Like, you thought you could freestyle, and then it's like,
nah,
yeah,
he was different.
Tell one of your P stories, just because we here with freestyling.
Man, I mean, it's so many of them. Just seeing them at the hip hop shop, just off the top of the head, freestyling, cooking people, battling, and all that. But I think the one that stands out in my mind the most, me and DJ House Shoes used to do a open mic at this spot on 8 Mile and Telegraph called the Cactus Lounge. No, actually, it was called Papachino's at the time.
That became Cactus. That became Buddha.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, Buddha was down the street.
I don't know why I thought Buddha in that.
Yeah, Buddha was on Lasher. But Lasher and 8 Mile, but the Cactus Lounge was on 8 Mile and Telegraph. Actually, it became the Cactus Lounge when me and House Shoes was doing it. And I remember seeing Proof the night before at Northern Lights. I'm like, me and Shoes is doing the open mic tomorrow, man. You know what I'm saying? Just come through, support. He's like, all right, yeah, bet I'll be there. He come through, him and his, his whole crew. And when he come in, it's a dude on the mic rapping. And this is an open mic freestyle shit. So the dude on the mic rapping, see Proof walk in. Like, oh, shout out to Proof and blah, 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 whatever. I don't know what he said. But Proof just heard his name and was like, oh, fuck that. I'm about to cook this nigga. Hey, dog. Hey, dog. He got on the mic and roasted this dude for about 10 minutes, dog.
Wow.
I'm like, dog, like, why?
Oh, man.
He just wanted to rap. It was any excuse to roast somebody, dog.
And this is what's so crazy about that. Being the person that is hosting the open mic, you try to, like, not have bias. You try to, like, hold. So for him to break you down where you had to even start, like, oh, man. I know the dude on the mic was like, man, I'm never rapping again.
Man, I ain't seen that dude since. We went crazy on me.
So, all right, so and I know we jumping and everything. Airbrushing has been something that you've kept with now that I get a better understanding for years. You ran a spot in one of the anchors of Detroit culture for years in Northland.
Yeah.
Airbrushing and sustain yourself. You was like, while like, Macy's and all these other businesses was closing, you was doing good.
I ain't gonna lie, I was the last store in there still working, like to the point where they tried to find me. Like, you have to leave. You can't still be here. Like I was still there knocking orders out when all the other stores had left, cleaned out stuff. I left with a couple of Northland furniture items. I ain't gonna lie.
There you go.
I can
Well,
tell
yeah,
y'all that
that's
now.
how you got paid for the fine. There you
Yeah,
go. It all
yeah.
balances. So within it and statute of limitations. Talk about
Yeah.
being in Northland. What was it like first when you got in Northland? And then let's talk about the transition as time went.
See, the mall was on the decline when I got there. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? There was a lot of vacancies, a lot of people walking around panhandling, dudes meeting there to fight. You know what I'm
One
saying?
second, time out.
It's just crazy.
One second. Dudes was coming up to Northland to square up.
Dog, man. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't have footage of this shit in my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually you just become one of them ignorant motherfuckers that break your phone out like World Star.
Hilarious.
But yeah. It was dudes meeting up out there to fight. So when I first started, I had a kiosk, and was doing good, moved into a store, but the owners of the mall were trying to trip on me about the rent, and I'm like, I came at them with a list of all the complaints I had, and it was valid. They like, okay, so what do you suppose we do? I'm like, so one thing that they did, they had was a big mural, like that was not far from my store, but it was kind of fucked up, and people thought that I did it. So I tell them like, y'all gotta let me paint over that, because every time I give my price for a portrait or something, people looking at that mural like, why would I pay you that? You know what I'm saying? So I told them the idea of painting a Motown mural, and I did that. And when I did that, a lot of people were coming to the mall just to see the mural and then leaving. Like schools was having field trips to the mall, looking at the mural, talking about Motown, and then leaving. So I tell mall management, like, imagine if you had these murals all throughout the mall. People would have no choice but to walk through the mall and possibly wind up shopping at these businesses. They're like, you know what? That's a good idea. So what would you charge us for that? Well, just don't charge me rent anymore. Nah, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did.
Wow.
I can tell y'all that now because the mall done shut down. But yeah, I was in there rent free for about a year or two.
All right. So during that time is obviously the decline because you watching, as you say, people squatting up and everything. What was it like for the other people that were working there at the time? Because I worked at the H&R Block in Northland. That one iteration. Shout out Vera and all of them, which was very colorful.
The one by the Radio Shack?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was moons ago. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Because the culture I remember was interesting. But near the close, I definitely remember the culture. It felt like I would only go there to go to Target.
Yeah.
And I may bop in and say, what up to you? And then I'm out.
Yeah.
What was it like at the time? That was pre-boycott Target. but what was like watching those final days, like just being there, and what did you do with your murals?
So the final days, I mean, it was kind of depressing, man. A lot of stores not knowing what they was gonna do next. People trying to figure out what their next move was gonna be. What was funny though was a lot of people coming out there knowing that it was about to shut down and doing stuff that they knew they wasn't gonna have a chance to do again. Like that big rhinoceros statue in the middle of the mall with the Jungle Book character, little boy on top of it. Everybody kept hopping on top of the rhinoceros taking pictures. That was hilarious because security was busy that day kicking people out because everybody kept people like grown old people hopping on top of the rhinoceros. The rhinoceros, it's a hard word to say sometimes. Rhinoceros taking pictures.
That's funny. So it's almost like they kicking out this person, then the next person jump
somebody
on,
else jumping,
and then they kick out that person, then the next person jump on.
Yeah, that was happening all day that last week, man. But I mean, it was just one of them things where it's like the end of an era. Like Northland Mall might have been like the first mall in the world, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So from there, you take your business, Aired Out Customs, and where do you go? What was your thought process and pivot with that? And then also during this time, like I say, the music and the airbrushing are like hand in hand.
I forgot to say what happened with the mural. My bad, because you did ask me that. So the mural was done on a wall that separated J.C. Penney from the rest of the mall.
Mm-hmm.
J.C. Penney had shut down, and they put up this long sheet of drywall. It's like 48 feet wide, maybe 12 feet high. And I painted that whole thing with the Motown mural. So when it came down to they about to shut the mall down, tear it down, I'm like, I don't want them to destroy the mural. So I did a GoFundMe campaign to raise money to cut the mural out of the wall and have it transported and stored somewhere. So I just had to figure out who was gonna get it. Called the Motown Museum repeatedly. They just wasn't interested.
Mm-hmm.
So I called the mayor of Southfield. Well, actually, the mayor of Southfield reached out to me and said that he wanted it. So it wound up going to the Southfield Municipal Building.
Wow.
Yep. So if you go to the mayor's office in Southfield, you'll see the Motown mural. But it's in sections though, because they had to cut it
because it was so big.
Yeah, and some of it did get destroyed in the transportation process. So, but it's in sections throughout the municipal building.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And great story of Detroit history with that too. Yeah. So hip hop, Aired Out Customs, same time. How you balancing both, and what's your take on it?
I just kind of try to combine the two as much as I can. Like I do some artwork and do a video of me doing the artwork and then add music to the video. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I balance it, man. I'm still working on balancing it.
And it's so interesting because one of the coolest things I always think, and you may say this or people may think this about me, is you seem so driven by creativity that you're moving in spaces where you can be most creative, which I think is so dope. Like even when we did, and Lord knows this idea is like a couple years back, I had this idea for a character because people were so serious into the spoken word scene. I was like, and people were making everything trap. It was like trap, you know what I'm saying? Like trap taxes, trap vegan. Trap vegan and trap everything. You know what I'm saying? Trap jazz. And I was like, okay, what if we have a guy called Trap Poet? And I was,
my man fronted me a key. He was on 7 Mile, wanted to see what I would do with it. By the time I got to 6 Mile, I was through with it.
And I was like, Cliff will pull this shit.
Yeah, we still got to do that movie, man.
Still got to do that movie about like him and his kid, like because it's just like it was just in an era and art, but just always creative. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know how you stay so grounded in your creativity, but it's inspiring.
Appreciate it, man.
Especially like when I say it's like, you either got time or money, and the more time you have, I think we can pour into our creativity. But then you run out of money, and then other stuff starts like, not being as present. And as much as I try, as much as I'm moving on faith at times, especially like now, wintertime, bills is stack. You'd be like, you know what I'm saying? And making this move, making that move, making this move, making that move, and wanting to honor it. How do you stay so grounded in creativity and being willing to go into different ventures in animation, in video, in comedy, in so many ways where it's like, okay, these are vehicles to stay creative?
It started with my parents, to be honest. Like a lot of times where a lot of people like, I need to do this because I don't have no cushion. My parents were always a cushion to where like, okay, try that out. You can stay with us to try that out until you get your shit together. And if it don't work, then you got to do something else. So I was always able to like when I was telemarketing, for example, and I hated that job. And then there every day people seeing me drawing like, why are you here? What made me comfortable with quitting was the fact that I knew that I could move back home with my parents until I figured it out.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So that always had me willing to, because now both my parents gone,
Mm.
I don't have that cushion anymore. So luckily, while they were here, I built up my confidence enough to know that I could do it. You know what I'm saying? So when it come to music, art, like I was able to do it freely and comfortably without the worry of how am I gonna pay my bills or where am I gonna stay at. To the point where I was able to be good at it and good enough to get paid before my confidence being shot down. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah.
And with that, and rest in peace to both your parents in passing and transitioning. I know
You as well, brother.
thank you with my mom, because like it was like in that same arc as our moms passed in somewhat of that same window. And definitely, like I tell people, losing a parent is a different journey from the physical to the spiritual for every person. So all I urge of everybody to say is this, especially when it comes to your parents or your siblings, those people closest to you, whatever you have that's causing strife, I would urge of all of you all to like come to peace. And you may still not necessarily agree with them. You may not necessarily still want to spend every day with them. But I would strongly urge to come to peace with whatever, because if they pass away and you haven't made peace with a person that you know you're connected to, I think that it's going to weigh on you. Because I don't know if you can say this about your mother, but it's certain people that were connected to my mother that it still weighs on more heavy. And me kind of knowing some of the backstory, it's like, yeah, because you ain't clear up that shit that y'all had going on.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
It be like that. Yeah, you definitely gotta let go of petty shit.
Yeah.
Real.
So so now in that same arc, as you talk about like that cushion and knowing, you know, you got your daughter that's into creativity, your son that's into creativity. How you push as a parent creativity, your wife that's into creativity. How do you keep creative juice going for all the people so connected to you? Because naturally around you, I don't know how a person couldn't want to, you know, sing, dance, draw, paint. Like, I don't know how a person could be in your presence and just sit around and say, I just want to do things by the book.
Yeah, it's just kind of natural with my family, man. I ain't gonna lie. Me and my wife kind of naturally connected. And I found out later that she was into painting and able to draw and all that, because she's so intimidated by what I do. She was just scared to show me. Then I saw her stuff like, damn, you dope. Yep. So the kids, they naturally, they got it from us. So it's kind of just instilled in them just from being around us all the time. So it's just a creative family.
And now I also understand your patience of teaching, because you've taught classes in art, because you go back to Reggie. Yeah. Reggie was hating. So
Reggie was hating.
And you don't want to break nobody's spirit like that. Because that's the other thing. You are always more motivating in that space.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You never know where somebody can take their skill, you know what I'm saying? Even if they don't have it yet, you don't want to tell them they don't have no potential. Everybody got potential. You know what I'm saying? It's just everybody don't use it. So I ain't gonna tell nobody you ain't shit, you ain't gonna be shit, none of that. Come on now.
So in close, I want to talk a little bit about the music, as you about to use the studio for something music related. Now, where's your vision at with music now? I mean, especially us rappers, 40 plus people be like, oh man, but it's still like an arc of a lot of MCs that are making some real cool music. Like Redman just dropped Muddy Waters 2, and listening to it, it's like you feel the energy that like he's connected, which that's just somebody that's more national. But it's a lot of other projects. What you working on, what Speed's working on, some of the stuff Sterling's doing, like it's still some very creative stuff from the lens of how we saw rap even back then. Almost like if you were past 28, you was looked at like a dinosaur or something.
Right.
But what's your offering in hip hop, and what are you looking to add and voice there?
I just want to add creativity and let it, be okay to be your damn self. Everybody ain't trying to do what the next man is doing or what the most popular trend is and all that. Just do you. and connect with the people that like that.
I know. And hope you don't get a beef with Talib Kweli. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
I'm really trying not to say fuck Talib Kweli in every interview that I do. but while we're on the subject, fuck Talib Kweli.
All right, yeah, man. We close out with the classic Detroit is Different questions. But before we get there, man, if people want to connect to the music, how do they connect to you? How do they get in the loop?
So stream duly noted on all streaming platforms. Mr. Cliffnote duly noted. And that's my last project. That's what I'm promoting right now. But when you do that, all my other stuff will come up to the last couple projects I dropped before that. Mr. Cliffnote Music on Instagram. Mr. Cliffnote on everything. If you go to Mr. Cliffnote on Instagram, you get my art page. So I have my music page, my art page, and my comedy page. I don't promote my comedy page because it is definitely tasteless comedy. You have to find that on your own. Do your research, you'll find it. But my music and art pages are available. Mr. Cliffnote Music and Mr. Cliffnote for the art page.
I love it. I love it. So now classic Detroit is Different questions. Very first car, year, make, and model, year you got it.
1985 Pontiac Trans Am. I got it when I turned 16, 96.
All right. Where's the first place you went when you got it?
I think I might have took a girl to the movies. We saw Casino.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a long movie.
Took a girl to see Casino.
There we go. De Niro and them.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what's up. You're the DJ at the end of the fireworks at Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 2 songs. What songs you playing?
Jefferson. So I'm gonna play Boss Up and Get This Money.
There we go.
And I'm gonna play Raise It Up.
Okay, I'm with it.
Yeah.
We close with this. If you could rename Woodward after one Detroiter, who would it be and why?
Woodward after one Detroiter. That's tough. I gotta sit and think about that one. Woodward after one Detroiter. People gonna be so mad at me when I say this, but the people that's gonna be mad don't live in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Kwame Kilpatrick.
Okay. Why?
Because I think of all of the mayors of my lifetime, other than outside of Coleman Young, I think he cared the most and did the most for the city. Like it was stuff. Like I grew up, like you already know, 6 Mile, Greenfield area, and it's parks around there that I had never seen hoops in. I always saw the backboard, never had a hoop. When he was mayor, they had hoops. You know what I'm saying? There's little stuff like that was like bulk pickup was consistent. The snow was plowed when it, when it snowed and it was bad in the streets, it was cleaned up. Like all of the stuff that mattered to the inner city people was better. So I think Kwame has done the most for Detroit that I can think of while I've been here.
That's interesting because Coleman is obviously number one. Kwame gets a lot of votes. And that pisses off like everybody in Metro Detroit.
Yeah. Outside of Detroit, they don't understand that. Like, how could you? Like, fuck y'all.
It's a Detroit thing.
Yeah, it's a Detroit thing.
With that being said, Cliff, thank you, my brother.
Thanks for having me, man. Always a pleasure.
Always. Peace.